What's going on YouTube? Scrammy here, coming at you with some more video of the Sonim XP8. Now today we're going to do a little once over real quick and a final test. Now last week we set the Sonim in lighter fluid, and if you didn't see that video, it was pretty sketchy, and I left it in the lighter fluid for well over an hour, just about 2 hours, and at the end of that test things weren't really looking so good. So real quick, I just wanted to say, after that video and everything that had happened, I set the phone on my air conditioning vent and just let it sit there for a few days. And now remember, the phone actually wasn't off. The phone was still working through that whole test. The first thing that happened that I noticed, which I actually went back and rewatched my video, and I would say my second to last check of the phone while it was in the lighter fluid, I actually noticed this flap being open. Now in real time when I was doing the test, I did not notice that, but if you go back on that video and watch, you'll actually see at the one moment where I come up and pan over the phone and this flap had actually opened up. It was sitting kind of like so, and bubbles that are kind of appearing all over after I put that last little bit in. Now I'm getting strange bubbles all over it. So, and then by the end it was open pretty far. Oh man, guys, uh-oh. Look at that. The charge port. Oh my goodness, that was not like that. That was not like that. I had that sealed up tight. And look, that could spell some trouble. I think we have an issue. See here, it appears to be back to normal. It's as if nothing had ever happened to it. And another big surprise here is right along the bottom edge there where the buttons. Now on that other video at the very end, I mentioned like how expanded this was compared to the other one that I have here. But I also just realized when I got close, look at the bubble. Okay, see where the buttons are? See how it's up really high? Now look at this one. It's totally flat. And it's back to pretty much normal. The buttons now all push. You can hear they all have tactile feedback back again, and the water mark has since dried. So what we're going to do is put the battery back in, turn it on, and then we're going to basically, what I've been dreading all week is plug it in. Now, like I said, this has been sitting for a while, but the phone still definitely smells like lighter fluid. Here's the actual battery, and you can see something, it definitely got affected by the lighter fluid, not in a good way at all. So this is still kind of sketchy. Here is a good battery. You can see the watermark on this one is tripped, and I don't know how safe it really is to use this battery, but again, this test went well over an hour, and even at the end, with the charge port on this phone open, at the end, the phone was still working. But I felt real sketched out, and seeing as the charge port was open and there was actually lighter fluid inside this area, just did, because when you flip this puppy over, the watermark, you can see it is wet with lighter fluid under where the battery was. Literally, it got in there. You can see it tripped that watermark, and it's wet inside, and that is lighter fluid. I ended it. I didn't want to go any further, so now we're going to put it all back together, and I want to just see if we can get the phone to come back on again. And then, if it gets up and everything seems to be running, I'm going to throw the back on the phone. We're going to walk over, and I'm going to plug this thing in and see if it'll charge.
again, this is kind of sketchy. I'm still leery about it. Maybe I'm just over worried, but it's a little weird to plug something in that was covered in lighter fluid. But the phone is booting up right now, so that is a plus. It looks to be like it's gonna be fine. Let me get it all turned on here. And yep. So we are, as far as I can see, good to go. So it actually dried out and seems to be working just fine. Again, this flap, it feels basically new. It doesn't feel like, I don't know exactly the science behind it and what in the lighter fluid would cause the rubber, soft rubber inside to expand the way it did. But it really did, to the point where these buttons couldn't even work. I couldn't push them down, and I got a little nervous about it. But right now, the phone looks great. So I want to keep this short and sweet. I'm going to throw the back cover on this, and we're going to walk over. And, well, as much as I haven't wanted to do it all week long, we're going to plug it in. And if it charges, I'm going to reverse my decision, where I didn't say it was an all-out fail, because the phone still at that point wasn't totally dead. But the fact that the charge port was opened, I couldn't push the buttons, I thought for sure I was just going to call it dead. But we plug it in and it takes a charge. We will call it still surviving. I was going to have to part out maybe some of this old broken Sonim, but if this works, I think we're going to be just fine. So bear with me a second, guys, while I put the back on. We'll walk over and do this up. Alright guys, here we go. I have the Sonim on a metal cooking tray here. God forbid something happens. At least if there's a flame, it will stay on the tray. Again, maybe I'm just freaking out for no reason. But here we go. We have an official Sonim charger, official Sonim plug, cord. This is all Sonim stuff. So I'm going to plug it in. I'm using a GFCI outlet just in case. I mean, I'd rather I not die if this goes horribly wrong. So without further ado, again, I've been dreading this, but I'm also kind of been looking forward to this, because I want to know that I can just use this Sonim as new again. So here we go. Open the charge port. Oh man. Okay. 3, 2, 1. In. And look at that. So far it's charging. Nothing seems to be wrong. Charging rapidly. Okay, well, let me bring this up real quick. I want to go over one more thing to make sure nothing actually got in later. So we will bring up a video real quick. I just want to make sure the sound is still good from before, because we do know it was good. But, okay, we have sound. Perfect. Now, we're going to check the functions again real quick. Just bring up the camera. Camera seems to be working. And video is definitely working. So I am now sufficed. I waited a while. The phone is charging. We are at 87%. But I guess we'll call this a win. I was a little nervous there for a while, and maybe a little overcautious, but the swelling on the phone has disappeared, and the phone appears to be charging up just fine. I'm going to let it charge up and fill you in if anything changes. But I think we got ourselves a winner. I'm officially changing my vote from pretty much dead to fully usable. Whatever happened, it fixed itself. There seems to be no issues. For all intents and purposes, I got the phone charged all the way up. I wanted to show you guys it did get back up to 100%, so we can unplug it. And hell, on to the next test, guys. On to the next one.